The galaxy is burning. Brother fights brother, and treason splits the Imperium of man. This is the Age of Darkness. Welcome to the Remembrancers retreat, coming to you from within the depths of the Vengeful Spirit.
Hello and welcome to the Remembrancers Retreat, a Warhammer 30k Horus Heresy podcast. My name is Jesse. I'm here tonight with Michael.
Hey.
Seems only natural after talking about the sisters in our last faction deep dive. We got the Legio Custodes.
Guys in gold. For those following along at home, this starts on page 16 of Liber Imperium.
Mm-hmm.
First thing worth mentioning is that the Legio Custodes is, of course, sworn brothers with loyalist armies.
Mm-hmm.
Much like the sisters, you can just ally them. I don't have the same experience I have with sisters, with Custodes, but my expectation is that allying in Custodes is going to happen less often, just because they're more expensive.
They're more expensive, and they don't necessarily have the same amount of synergy that you might get with others. Like having the white scars, being able to get that extra advantage on potentially seizing the initiative or going first. You know, that's great if you can throw an allied detachment and get those benefits. The Legio Custodes, not quite as much. However, they are pretty darn strong, but they are expensive.
Yeah.
A fun little tidbit here. It does mention on page 16 on the bottom left, mentioning the detachments. It mentions material found in further Horus Heresy volumes will add additional diverse and unique characters to the Legio Custodes forces and exciting tabletop battles. And so that's kind of, a fun little sneak peek. It's like curious to see what other stuff will be down the road.
Yeah, because Custodes already have a pretty expansive list.
Yeah, most everything we see here we've seen in previous editions. So obviously, what the game is as it is, we would see expansion on stuff, but it's always fun and, curious to see what else is going to be coming down the road. Like in the first edition of Horus Heresy, it mentioned Constantine Valdor is the warlord, unless like the Emperor is on the tabletop and people were losing their goddamn minds. But it was a good time. Like I said, Allegiance. Go ahead.
Speaking of Custodes warlords, if you have a warlord who Custodes, they must use the Golden Exemplar rule.
Yep. They only have the one, and you can't use the generics.
Which is interesting. I don't think we've seen that for an entire faction before.
Yeah, I don't recall. I can't remember if the sisters are only locked to those three that they have, which I'll have to check later. But, yep. In the meantime, the Golden Exemplar, any combat with at least one friendly model within 12 inches of a warlord with this trait, or a combat which includes a warlord with this trait, gains a bonus of +1 to the number of wounds caused for the purposes of deciding which side has won a combat during the assault phase. And in addition, while engaged in a challenge, a warlord with this trait adds a bonus of +1 to their attacks and initiative characteristics. Pretty solid. It's kind of like a built-in Vexilla on your warlord.
Yeah.
And can't say no to a bonus +1 to attack and initiative. That's always a pretty solid get.
Yeah. Can't say it's super evocative to me, but it's good, though.
Yeah.
You're not going to be mad having that, certainly.
Mm-hmm. But then they also have the overall Legio Custodes special rule, if you want to take that, Michael.
Sure. Legio Custodes. Models with the special rule gain the following benefits in various situations that involve Nemesis units, not to be convinced with Nemesis bolters.
Mm-hmm.
All models with the special rule gain +1 attacks when locked in combat with a Nemesis unit. A unit composed entirely of models with the special rule gain an additional bonus of +1 to all charge rolls made when all the targets of the charge are Nemesis units. And when rolling to hit while engaged with a Nemesis unit, a model with the special rule will never need to roll better than a 4+ to score a hit, unless the Nemesis unit is composed entirely of models with a Primarch unit type, or the attacking model is in a challenge with a model that has the Primarch unit type.
A little bit niche on that, but important to know.
Yeah.
And so when they talk about Nemesis units, here's what they're talking about. Nemesis unit is defined as any enemy unit that fulfills at least one of the following conditions. The unit includes one or more models with at least one of the following unit types or unit subtypes, either Primarch, Dreadnought, Monstrous, Reinforced, Bombard, Daemon, Corrupted, Super Heavy, Unique, or Knight. Or the majority of models in the unit have a value of 5 or more in any one of the following characteristics: weapon skill, ballistic skill, wounds, or initiative. Or finally, the unit includes an enemy warlord. Now, on that second bullet, it's important to note that there was an FAQ out there, so when we talk about a value of 5 or more in any of those characteristics, we are talking about the unmodified value. If a model gains a bonus to that base characteristic, that does not count. If they go from a 4 to a 5 for any purpose, it still does not count as a Nemesis unit. So, good to know, and decent clarification too, because that could have been left open to interpretation for some. So, overall, Custodes are elite unit hunters, elite unit killers. But that being said, if you're good at killing elites, you're probably good at killing at most everything else too. But getting started, we'll go with surprisingly classified as Primarch, which I thought was kind of interesting, Mr. Constantine Valdor. Back in the game at 350 points, the Captain General of the Legio Custodes, Shield of the Emperor, and the first of the 10,000. Which, if Michael, have you ever listened to the Horus Heresy book about Constantine? I think it's just called Valdor.
I have not.
It is definitely worth a read if you haven't. There goes into a lot of deep lore regarding the origins of the Custodians and the Legiones Astartes themselves. A lot of pre-Great Crusade lore and story in there. Definitely worth a pickup. Honestly, one of the better books of the series.
I'll keep that in mind. Recently listened to... what's the other one? After Magnus does his thing, the sisters and Mechanicus have to go clean things up.
Oh.
What way?
Shoot. I can't remember.
Master Mankind.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
that's good. Valdor, I listened to it as an audiobook, and there's actually it's pretty well done as an audiobook too, because I guess there's sections of the book where it's in like mid-chapter paragraphs and stuff where there's like a little mini story in between, and it's all done in like an audio drama way. It's really cool.
Neat.
So anyway, but back to Constantine Valdor. Like I mentioned, he is 350 points, and he has the following stat block: a movement of 8, weapon skill of 7, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, and wounds are all at 5. He is initiative 6, has 5 attacks, is leadership 10, and has a 2-up save. His unit type is Primarch, again, with skirmish and unique. His war gear includes the Apollonian Spear, the Misericord, the Corinthian War Plate, frag, grenades, melt-to-bombs, area shrike. His special rules include the Legio Custodes rule, counterattack 1, lightning blows of a 6-up, and he is loyalist. He may also take a teleport transponder array for 125 points. I believe that's what it says. My EPUB is showing weird sometimes.
125.
All right. So his weapon, the Apollonian Spear, has 2 profiles. The first is when he's locked in combat, and the second is used to make shooting attacks. As a melee weapon, it is a strength +2, AP 2, melee, specialist weapon, lightning blows 6 up, murderous strike on a 4 up. And his hypervelocity bolter, ranged weapon, is strength 5, AP 2, assault 2, and concussive 1. Lightning blows. Do you know off the top of your head if you have that nearby?
I have it in front of me, actually.
Perfect. So what are those lightning blows?
It's a whole paragraph that effectively boils down to when you roll a hit in combat, if you get that number more, you get an additional attack.
Okay.
So for every 6 Valdor rolls to hit, he gets another attack.
When you say another attack, is that an automatic hit, or does he get another opportunity to roll more dice?
Roll more dice.
Okay. That's kind of cool. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 6 up, but nonetheless, just getting extra attacks is pretty...
He's already starting at 5 attacks. On an average roll, every other turn he's getting a 6th attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at strength, effectively strength 7 AP 2 with murder strike 4 up. Yeah. Definitely on Primarch tier levels of ridiculousness. He also has the Corinthian War Plate, which gives him a 2-up armor save and a 3-up invulnerable save. And in addition, any models with the Loyalist allegiance can draw a line of sight to him or are locked in the same combat, use his leadership characteristic instead. So leadership 10, depending on where you're at, all over the board.
Dang.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And for 350 points. So it's at 5 wounds. I feel that's on the lower threshold of the other Primarchs. I don't have them in front of me, but that being said, there's some...
He definitely seems like he's on a Primarch level, but not like the top of the Primarch level.
Right, which obviously he should. Yeah.
It's what Valdor should be.
Yep. I guess he's a little too strong to be a war or a HQ unit, so they got to put him in that slot.
Yeah.
Plus also getting the benefits of the Primarch type itself, which are a lot.
Never have your attributes reduced.
All right, but then we go on to the HQ units. You want to take this one?
Do we want to talk about some of his Custodes war gear before we move on? I figure that's likely going to come up.
Yeah, so we talked about the spear and the war plate. What does the misery cord give him?
Misery cord is a melee weapon that is strength 4, AP dash, but has instant death.
Interesting. Oh, instant death. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and not just on a flat, just straight up instant death.
Yes.
Very
no AP,
interesting.
but instant death. I'm not sure when I would use that, but there it is.
Yeah, especially over the spear. Yeah. I guess at this edition they wanted to have the misery cord do something.
Yeah.
Because it was a literally useless piece of war gear in the first edition. Which, if I remember right, the misery cord, it's like a status symbol or a symbol of office for the custodians.
Yeah. I wonder if when we see like demons, they're going to have like a low normal save. And so maybe it'll be worthwhile using that on them.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how much lower can you get besides dash, though?
Yeah, I'm saying that, demons might have a native armor save of like 6 up with a 3 up feel no pain.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
In a situation like that, maybe you go for it.
Yeah, killing the feel no pain with the instant death makes sense.
Of course, no idea if that's the case. Just trying to think of some instance where I'd take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe all will be revealed eventually. Or it could be a matter, we haven't gone through the others, but I'm assuming most of the other custodians have misery cords, and it would be weird not to give Valdor one too, just because of lore reasons.
It's also, I think, important to note that the misery cord is not a specialist weapon. So paired with a specialist weapon, it doesn't give you an extra attack, but paired with a non-specialist weapon, it would.
Yep. So
something for us to keep an eye out as we're going through these.
yeah. And the other thing is the area shrike.
Yeah, which I also have in front of me.
Okay.
If there is a model with an area strike on the battlefield when any enemy player declares a deep strike assault or flanking assault, roll to see if the deep strike assault or flanking assault is any roll to see if the deep strike assault or flanking assault is disordered suffers a -1, and thus is disordered on a 1 or a 2 instead of just 1.
Whew. So a 33% chance, which we know quite well. A disordered deep strike is very, very rough.
I don't have the Astartes books in front of me right now, but the Vox Disruptor, I think, sets it to a 4-up roll.
I see.
I wonder if you could combine them to have it disordered on anything less than a 5-up.
Huh. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah, because it doesn't mention anything about stacking per se, but it doesn't say it doesn't stack either, right?
Right.
Does it say if just any model on the board?
Yep.
So it might just say if you have at least one, it could be interpreted if at least one of your models has a misery chord, or the area shrike, then it goes to a 2-up.
Right. But if, say, you were taking him, well, not Valdor, but if Valdor had an allied detachment with Master of Signals in it.
Gotcha. Would they combine to stack?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to take a look at that, because that might be a case. And boy, that would suck for the deep striker.
It's real rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I love my Hammerfall, but oof.
Yeah. So with Hammerfall, are you? I was just thinking with Hammerfall, the way the army is set up, I guess because you're taking that right, you have to start stuff in deep strike, right? You can't just walk them on the board.
You don't have to, but that's the point of it.
Right. That being said, in that case,
if you don't use the deep strike, then you're not getting anything out of it.
Gotcha.
That's the problem.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So
okay.
Moving on to the Custodian Tribune, a 0 to 1 choice.
What a Custodian Praetor looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. So 300 points. Movement 8, weapon skill 7, ballistic skill strength, toughness, all 5, 4 wounds, 5 initiative, 5 attacks, leadership 10, 2-up save. Again, beast of a stat line. Comes stock with a Guardian Spear, Misericord, Orc Breastplate, Frag Grenades, Melta Bombs, and an Era Shrike. Has the Legio Custodes rule, independent character, Tribune of the Golden Legion, Eternal Warrior, Fearless, Bulky 3, Relentless, and Loyalist. And also has the Skirmish subtype. Tribune of the Golden Legion is an interesting rule there. Model with the special rule may only be included in the primary detachment of an army with a total value of at least 3,000 points.
Whew. Okay.
Furthermore, unless Valdor is also in the army, model with the special rule must be chosen as the warlord.
Wow.
Yeah.
That feels intentionally as a balancing function. But it also makes you kind of surprised that you don't see that on more things.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like we're talking with the Sisters episode where you take, 5 sisters and their elite commanders, because their elite commanders are fantastic. Looks like you can't quite do that with Custodes.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Yeah, looking ahead a little bit, you could bring a shield captain in an allied detachment, but not the Tribune.
Yep, only in primary detachment. Also, it doesn't necessarily mean, from what I read here, the primary detachment itself doesn't have to be 3,000 points, just the overall army.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth, but you're still not taking him without taking a 3,000 point army. So big games.
You're not going to be playing him in a slow grow, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's, not anytime soon.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Depends how high your slow grow goes.
Yep. So let's see what else he's got here. The Guardian Spear, which I believe is a standard weapon.
Yeah.
The Misery Cord as well. The Auric Battle Plate. Frag Grenades. Melt-A-Bombs. And Area Shrike. Did you read this war gear already? I was afraid that my mind just kind of slipped real quick.
Yeah, I read the basic war gear.
Oh, jeez, I'm sorry.
Not gone through the options.
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking ahead too much.
Yeah.
But, so looking at his options, he's got the Archaea Tech Pistol at 5 points, Presidium Shield for free, and a Teleport Transponder Array for, again, 125 points. I remember this stuff being a lot cheaper back in the previous editions, but they also work slightly different. So instead of on a per unit basis, I'll have to see what they actually do with this game. I think it's probably the whole detachment, maybe.
I'm going to look at that because that is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Teleport Transponder Array. The model gains Deep Strike. In addition, if you have a detachment with the Custodes subfaction that includes one or more models with the array, may set up to 3 units for each model with a teleport transponder array that is part of that detachment in a deep strike assault.
Okay. So, that feels pretty reasonably priced at that point then.
Yeah.
Up to 3 units. That doesn't mention necessarily the unit size, but also
it does actually.
Okay.
Max unit size of 5.
Okay. Well, being custodians, you don't see too many large units, regardless. So.
Okay, so makes sense that those are 125 points. You're getting the character and 3 squads worth of deep strike out of each one.
Yeah, without any other shenanigans having to deal with. So
yeah, still a little steep, but Custodes deep striking is going to be real good. So
yeah, and I guess also, and this is the Tribune, so doesn't looking ahead again. Look like the Shield Captain can take this. So we're still talking about massive game list.
Okay. Yeah.
And I guess the other question there too is: does the teleport transponder array work for 3 units per array? Like if you were to okay, so you could take Valdor and the Tribune, both take rays, and then you have 2 characters and 6 units coming in.
Which 3,000 point Custode army with both these characters. That's like your entire army.
Feels like it. I mean, the Tribune takes up 10% of that in itself. Right? He's a chonky boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, more options. He may replace his Guardian Spear with one of many of the following options. Pyrothite Spear for 15 points. The Adrosite Spear for 10. Sentinel Warblade for free. Guardian Axe for free. Meridian Swords for free. Solarite Power Gauntlet for 30 points. A Solarite Power Talon for 10. 2 Solarite Power Talons for 15. Paragon Glaive for 30 points. Or a Paragon Blade for 25. So, the spear weapons, do you want to have us run through the war gear real quick on what those weapons actually do?
Sure.
Because I imagine they were going to be talked about quite a bit in this.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about this a lot, so let's go ahead and get it out of the way. So first up, we have the Guardian weapons. Guardian weapons all have a shooting profile and a melee profile. So first up, the Guardian Spear, the basic one, is range 18, strength 4, AP 4, assault 2, shred. Melee, strength +1, AP 2, two-handed, reaping blow 1. Guardian Axe has the same shooting profile, but is strength +3, AP 2, two-handed, unwieldy. Sentinel Warblade, the Custodes swords, is Strength 4, AP 4, Assault 2, Shred again. And then Strength User, AP 2, and Melee.
Okay.
The Pyrothite Spear is only a 6-inch range shooting, but is Strength 8, AP 1, Assault 1, Armor Bane Melta.
Gotcha. So basically a multi-melta on a stick. Or a melta gun on a stick.
Pistol on a stick, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's Armor Bane Melta, not just Armor Bane. So I think you got to be within half range for the Melta rule.
Good point.
And then melee with that is Strength +1, AP 2, two-handed, Reaping Blow 1.
Okay. And these guardian weapons can be found on page 147.
Yeah.
They're nice enough to put all this into one single page instead of going back and forth, which is really appreciative.
Yes. Very handy right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Aderastite Spear is 12-inch range, Strength 5, AP 3, Assault 1, Instant Death, Armor Bane ranged, and gets hot. With Strength +1, AP 2, Reaping Blow 1, two-handed melee.
Cool.
Paragon Glaive, which I'm jealous I can't put on my champions, is 18-inch range, Strength 5, AP 4, Assault 2, Shred. And then +1 Strength in melee, AP 2, two-handed, Reaping Blow 1, Murder Strike 5 up. And last of the Guardian weapons is the Venatari Lance, which is 12-inch range, Strength 7, AP 4, Assault 3, Rending 6 up, with melee profile that's like we've seen before, Strength +1, AP 2, and two-handed. No Reaping Blow on that one.
Yep.
And I don't think all of these are takeable by the Tribune, but
I don't believe
the Guardian weapons are there on the list, so now we've covered them.
Yeah. So we know the Solarite Power Gauntlet's Strength 10 AP1 Power Fist, basically. Do we know what the Power Talon is?
We do.
Yeah.
It
what
is
we got there?
A Strength 5 AP 2 with Shred. And also, if you have two of them, you gain 2 extra attacks instead of the usual +1.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
For 15 points. For 2 of them. That's pretty good.
At AP 2 with Shred? Yeah.
Yeah, 7 attacks, AP2 Shred. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Would not want to be fighting that in close combat. Good Lord. But, yeah, so, let's see.
What else do we have? Oh, right. We're going to want to talk about the Meridian Swords.
I was just looking at that, because I don't think that was there in the first edition. I don't recall that myself.
I don't recall it, and I know it pretty recently showed up in 40K with
okay.
one of the kind of standalone box Custode characters.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was like a Master Swordsman situation.
Yeah. I wonder if that allows you to take some of those 40K Custode models and bring them into 30K, probably.
Probably. But looking at the Meridian Swords, calls out that the Meridian Swords are a single weapon, though they are represented on the models as a pair of swords. A model with the Meridian Swords is not counted as having 2 weapons in combat. However, it does have 3 profiles. At the start of each combat, a single profile is picked. And all models in the same unit that have Meridian Swords must attack using the same profile.
Gotcha.
So the first profile, Raptor Spreads Its Wings, is Strength User, AP 2, two-handed, Rampage 3.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Second one is Grasp the Rainbow Serpent, Strength 10, AP 1. Two-handed, Measured Strike, Instant Death.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah. And Hands Cut the Clouds. Strength +1, AP 2, two-handed, Murder Strike 4 up.
Huh. Okay. It feels very reminds me a lot of the White Scars.
Yeah.
Kinza, I think, had something part the horse's mane and split the mountain. Kind of like having those different types of having the one weapon but having the style. I kind of like that. On paper it does the exact same thing, but still
it's a nice bit of fluff, and I'd love to see more of it.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, actually. I'd love to see more of it in White Scars.
Because or honestly in general, just because think of like in a challenge or a duel, being able to swap up without really losing, other benefits, being able to choose what you're going to fight, or what would be even cooler, you and your opponent just kind of like secretly choose what you're going to fight with and then show what you have.
Yeah.
But that's for another time.
Yeah.
That'll be its own supplement. Just challenges will be its own supplement. Hopefully. I don't know.
I don't hate it.
I don't either.
Yeah. I love my champions.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a reason to play more of them.
Yeah. Have it more dynamic.
Yeah.
But anyways. So I want to say...
So I think there's one more piece of war gear we should talk about on him.
Uh-huh.
And that's his armor. The Orc Battle Plate, which is very simply 2-up save, 4-up invuln.
Okay. Like cataphractic armor, except you're not heavy.
Yeah.
Handy.
Yeah. Okay.
And it should be noted that looks like the Custodians, their base movement is 8, so they'll probably be they get the +1 to charge by default.
And I believe an additional +1 if it's a Nemesis unit.
Yeah. Yep. So something to think about as well.
Definitely looking like a melee army based on what I've seen.
So far.
Shooting options all seem to be pretty short range.
Yeah. Well, when the bulk of your models are either guys with spears or swords.
Yeah, makes sense.
Outside of its vehicles. But so moving on, we got the HQ Shield Captain. He has a movement of 8, weapon skill of 6, ballistic skill, strength, toughness of 5, 3 wounds, initiative 5, and 5 attacks. He has leadership 10 and has a 2-up save. He is clocking in at 200 points. He has, by default, the Guardian Spear, a Misericord, Orc Battle Plate, Frag Grenades, Melt-A-Bombs, Area Shrike, and has independent character, bulky 3, relentless, stubborn, and is loyalist, of course. He can take a pistol for 15 points, Archaeotech pistol for 15 points, or a Prosadium shield for free. And he has available to him the Pyrothite Spear for 15, Adrosite Spear for 10, the Warblade, Guardian Axe, Meridian Sword for free. These are all pretty much priced the same, I believe. Yeah. So Solarite Power Gauntlet for 30, Power Talon for 10, 2 Solarite Power Talons for 15, Paragon for 25, Paragon Blade for 25, and Paragon Glaive for 30.
So, quick note I want to bring up on some of the melee weapons we talked about. So a lot of them are two-handed. However, the Sentinel Warblade is neither two-handed nor a blanking on the word.
Specialist weapon?
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. Which means you'd get the additional attack from the Misericord.
So,
offhand.
That being said, it's interesting because I don't know if... I just realized that you could probably build it in different ways because typically the sword you would get the shield as well. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily the case anymore. You don't have to take the shield.
You do not have to take the shield. What does the shield do, though?
Yeah, the Presidium Shield. I think it brings your invuln to a 3-up, but I think it might do other things as well.
That's what I would guess. Well, I found the Gravis Presidium Shield.
Mm-hmm.
The one I want for all of my dreadnoughts. There we go. A Presidium Shield confers a 5-up invuln save.
Huh. Okay.
In addition, you can't claim bonus attacks for having more than one weapon, or attack with a weapon with a two-handed special rule.
Okay.
So, in conclusion, don't take Presidium shields on your HQs, I guess.
Now with the Orc Battle Plate granting you that bonus, that's interesting. It might be just because of a carryover, but
that strikes me as a carryover.
Yeah. So sounds like you can rock with your Warblade and Archaeotech pistol to get that +1 attack for 6 attacks, which also would look like a really cool model too.
Or the Warblade and the Misericord, or Meridian Blades.
Oh yeah, the Warblade and the Misericord.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a Presidium Shield just must be a carryover. It's kind of a shame that it doesn't give much more than that.
Right?
I feel like it would either debuff the other opponent, like removing an attack or something. But anyways,
I guess Custodes don't really need more, particularly on their B-stick characters.
Yeah. I think as we go through, I think the more general troops don't have the same invuln extras.
Yeah, that is true.
That's probably where they get their 5-up save. But speaking of which, moving on, the Heteron Guard Squad, our first elite slot unit here, rocking in at 225 points. A lot of 5s across the board. With a movement of 8, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness of 5, 3 wounds each, initiative 5, and 4 attacks base, and a leadership of 10 with a 2-up save. They compose of 3 guardsmen, Heteron guardsmen. They are equipped with Meridian swords, Misericord. They also have the Orc Warplate, which is that the same thing? So one's Orc Battle Plate and one's Warplate. Is that 2 different things?
Yes.
Okay.
The Orc Warplate is a 2-up save with a 6-up invuln.
Okay. So now you get a 6-up.
That's where the shield comes into play.
Yep. They also have frag grenades and melta bombs, which honestly, that's a good point because I could see someone just kind of glancing over. And Battle Plate and Warplate are 2 separate things.
Yep.
Part of me wonder if that was a typo, but nope. They're Legio Custodes. They're also bulky 3, chosen warriors, and they also have relentless, stubborn, and are loyalist. A Heteron guard of no more than 6 models may take a Coronis Grav carrier as a dedicated transport, which we'll talk about later. It does not use up an additional force organization slot, but its points cost must still be paid for as part of the army, as usual. You may take up to 7 additional Heteron guard for a total of 10 for 70 points each. Pretty pricey, especially for Space Marine players like ourselves.
Yeah.
They have 7 Meridian swords. By default, you can change them out to have Guardian spears for free. Pyrothite spears for 15 points each. Adrosite spears for 10. The Warblade and Guardian axes are free. Solarite Power Gauntlet 30 points. Power Talon 10. Solarite Power Talons 15 per model. Paragon Blade 25 points each. I'll probably skip some of these points cost as we go on because it's, they'll be roughly the same unless it's a drastic change, and I'll take note.
I was going to say, going forward, we'll probably focus just on what's unique about each unit.
Yeah.
By now, you got a pretty decent idea of what options these things have and what their stat lines look like.
Yeah. Speaking of specific options, this is kind of cool. 1 Heteron guard in the unit may exchange his Meridian swords for one of the following options: a Magisterum Vexilla and Mastercrafted Power Weapon for 15 points, or a Magisterum Vexilla and Sentinel Warblade for 20. And any model that does not have a Vexilla may take a Presidium Shield for 10 points. So, what does the Magisterum Vexilla give you?
The Vexilla allows the unit to reroll all failed leadership checks and adds 1 to the score used to decide if any friendly unit within 12 inches of the Vexilla wins a combat. So it's a 12-inch bubble of +1 to combat resolution.
Yep.
Along with re-rolling your failed leadership saves.
Yep. So like the old Vexilla.
Yeah.
Very cool. That is handy. And I guess let's see. So one thing to note is that custodians are not fearless. So they can still be affected by things that deliver fear, shell shock. They're not inexorable, so they can still be modified. Or their leadership.
They are stubborn.
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. They are stubborn. Excuse me. Never mind them.
So they'll be 10. They could roll that 11.
Yeah, that's true.
Or that 12.
Yep.
But
you got that Vexilla
it is possible.
Yep.
You will always remember the time that you swept a unit of Custodes.
Won't happen often, but when it does,
the one time it ever happens.
I'm sure you'll feel good about it.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're moving on to the Aquilon Terminator Squad, if you want to take that one.
Sure. 290 points for 3. Movement 7, so a little slower. Other than that, stat line looks very familiar. They are skirmish and heavy. War gear, they have Lastrum Storm Bolters, Solarite Power Gauntlets, and the Terminator armor is base. They are, of course, Legio Custodes. They are bulky 4. Chosen Warriors, Relentless, Stubborn, and Loyalist.
So the Aquilon Terminator armor, I'm pulling up here, unless you had it right in front of you.
I do not. Go for it.
Let's see. Aquilon Terminator armor. Hello. There you go. So this gives you a 2-up armor save and a 4-up invuln save. So it's pretty much just like Cataphractii armor. Which, looking at the description on the left, it is based off of it. So, and I will say I've put together a few of these models before, and these are some really good looking Terminator models.
The Custodes have good looking armor.
Yeah, just in general. It's pretty darn good looking.
And the Lastrum Stormbolter is 24 inches, strength 5, AP 4, assault 3, shred.
Yeah, that's pretty darn respectable.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a bolter, but, assault 3 and shred.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit better.
Yeah, nothing to hate about it for sure.
No.
So as far as options, the dedicated transport, if you have no more than 4 models, you can take a grav carrier. You can choose up to 7 more Terminators for 90 points each. You can exchange your Power Gauntlet for a Power Talon for free. And you can take one of the following for any model: a twin-linked Athletic Destructor for 15 points, an Infernus Fire Pike for 15 points, and a Solarite Power Talon for free. So the Fire Pike, the Infernus Fire Pike. Let's see what we got going on here now. It's pretty sure it's the Flamer, but I'm sure there's some fun stuff attached to it for...
Yeah. So template weapon, strength 6, AP 6, heavy 1, torrent 9 inches.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty darn good Flamer.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on from them. We've got our Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought, which...
Beautiful, beautiful baby.
Yep. One of the 2 Dreadnoughts they have. Well, one of the 3 technically, but as far as the Contemptor class, this is the one with the great big ol' Guardian Spear. Rocking in at 250 points as an elite choice. He has movement of 8, weapon skill of 6, ballistic skill of 5, strength 8, toughness 7, 6 wounds, 4 initiative, 4 attacks, leadership 10, and a 2-up save. One of the lower initiative guys, surprisingly. But quite honestly, as a Dreadnought, I'm not going to complain too much about it.
Anything you're worried about as a Dreadnought is still hitting after you.
Yeah. Yep. He has an Achilles Dread Spear with inbuilt Corvée Lays Pulsar, a Gravis Power Fist with inbuilt Lastrum Stormbolter, and the Adamantic Deflector. Other than being a Dreadnought, he has the Legio Custodes rule and is a Loyalist. Loyalist only. They're all Loyalist only, if you hadn't guessed. So the Achilles Dread Spear with inbuilt Corvée Laser Pulsar. What we got going on there?
I see. Two separate weapon entries. So the Dread Spear is Strength 12.
Okay.
Because fuck you, I guess. AP2. Exoshock 4 up and two-handed.
Okay. Cool.
And Las Pulsar.
The Corvée Las Pulsar, if that helps.
Yeah. Las Pulsar is 24-inch range. Strength 9. AP 3.
Okay.
Heavy 3.
Okay. All right. AP 3. So again, not shooting dreadnoughts off the board, but wounding them pretty consistently.
And taking a bite out of Marines that you don't usually see this edition.
Yeah. Yep. Strength 9. So you're also, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that instant death on the Terminators and stuff. I mean, you still have to get past their 2-up armor save, but
yeah,
pretty handy to have. And at movement 8, like this guy,
nothing to be mad about, but it does seem like an odd weapon to me, with only 3 attacks.
Yeah, but at the same time, this one's definitely more for the big. It's instead of being an all-rounder, he's built for taking out your Land Raiders.
Yeah, it's going to go stab a Land Raider.
That's strength 12.
Yeah.
So low attacks in the shooting, but honestly, that's for the best.
Yeah.
I feel like if he had more, he would be just insane. And he's only 250 points. He's only 250 points. Keep that in mind, too.
Oh, yeah. No, he can only have 3 attacks. we're tacking another 100 on if he wants more.
Like he's feeling the right price point that I feel like regular Contemptors should be right now. And he's got, I don't know, I still feel they're a little cheap, but
that's a whole other argument.
Yeah, we can get away from that in the future.
Yeah.
I forgot about the FAQ for the Contemptor. Shit.
Oh, right. Replace the second bullet point of this unit's war gear with Gravis Power Fist and 2 Lastrum Stormbolters. Change this unit's options to any Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought may replace its Achilles Dread Spear and inbuilt Corvée Las Pulsar with one of the following. Gravis Power Fist, free.
Okay.
A Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought may replace any Lastrum Stormbolter with one of the following. Twin-linked Adrathic Destructor, plus 15 points. Infernus Incinerator, plus 5 points.
Once again, thanks for listening to the Remembrancers Retreat. If you enjoy our program, be sure to go to Facebook and Instagram at RR30K Podcast. You can also go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. You can join our Discord community. The link is in the show notes. If you'd like to support our program, be sure to go to patreon.com and become a member today. And as always, we'd like to thank all of our patrons, starting with our Legion Praetors, Alex Self, Captain Sasquatch, Chap Lanissar, Chris Mack, Garner.Tree of Woe, Joe from Music City Heresy, Luke Rizzuto, Matthew Boyce, Mr. Baldwick, Nick Quenga, Rena the Floof, Sar Luther, Variance Hammer, and Zachary Thompson. Our Legion Centurions, Aaron Maynard, Andrew N., Dave Jones, Duncan, Gorecrow, Life Subaquatic, M. Tanzer, Matthew Andriasio, Nick Hilda, Richard Bork, Scott LeMay, The Zoy, and Winter. And finally, our Legion Sergeants, Aircraft Terrier, Bulfarius, Dale Jones, Emily O'Hare, Eric Dacus, Garrett Lowe, Jay DeSales, John, Jonathan Crane, Carl, Noah Atkins, at Fulsidax Monstrosa, and Travis Smith. Once again, we thank all of you for your support. And finally, we'd like to thank GoblinsHut.com, your place for dirty down special effects, paint, and hobby supplies. Right now, if you become a patron, you can get a discount to GoblinsHut.com. You'll get a special promo code for you to use there to save on dirty down rust, moss, and verdigris special effects paint. as well as Klinsky Sable brush sets. Once again, that's goblinshut.com.
So now it takes us to the Custodian Guard Squad.
You know them, you hate them. The troops.
Yep.
If anything the Custodes have can truly be called troops.
An army of one. Or three when you take the squad.
Maybe. Yeah. Speaking of which, for 3 of them, as base size, it's 150 points. Basic stat block with movement 8, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5, strength 5, toughness 5, 2 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks, leadership 9, and 2 up save.
Yeah.
They are infantry with the skirmish and line subtypes. Come stock with the Guardian Spear, Misericord, Orc Warplate, frag grenades, melt bombs. And then for special rules, naturally they have Legio Custodes, Bulky 3-up, Chosen Warriors, Relentless, Stubborn, and Loyalist.
You can take up to 10 in a squad by adding 7 additional Custodians each for 45 points each. Which, let's see, off the top of my head, that's oof. Let me pull the old calculator out here because I am way too tired to do math off the top of my head. But we're looking at another 350 points, roughly. 315. So yeah, 465 points if you take a full complement of 10 base without any other upgrades. That's a lot of guys. They do have 2 wounds each.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just a beefier Terminator squadron.
Yeah.
Once all said and done, with initiative 5 and just better at everything.
Not a bad price for what you're getting, I don't think.
It really isn't, considering what I pay for other 10-man Terminator squads.
Yeah.
And you're getting Stubborn and they're relentless. So it's effectively a Terminator squad with lots of nasty stuff. They can also take the Vexilla with either Mastercrafted Power Weapon for 15 or Warblade for 20.
If they don't want to do that, they can grab a Guardian Axe for free, the Edricite Spear for 10, or the Pithrite Spear for 15.
Yep.
And then if you take a squad of 6 or less, you can take the Cornus Grav Carrier as a dedicated transport.
All right, man. From the guard squad from the Custodian Guard Squad to the Sentinel Guard Squad, these are the guys with the spears. No, excuse me. These are the guys with the swords.
Yep. Keeping it nice and quick. Sentinels are the same as the Guard Squad, just with sword and shield instead of the spear. The Warblade upgrades, they can take a Solarite Power Talon for 10, Solarite Power Gauntlet for 30, and then one model in the unit can exchange their shield for a Vexilla for 10 points.
Yep, not much different, but if you want the 5-up invul and save, this is where you go.
I do think Custodian should have the spears, though. It's classic.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It just looks great.
Yeah.
A handful of specialist guys with the swords, but
yeah.
Then we have the dedicated transport, the Cornus Grav Carrier, which I've seen this model in person. It is a big boy. It is a school bus. It has a transport capacity of 18. It's 180 points. So 180 points for a dedicated transport. Let's keep that in mind. However, it has a 16-inch movement, has a ballistic skill of 5, because why not? As Custodians, screw you. 13, 12, 10 for its armor, and 5 hull points. It is a anti-grav transport vehicle. It has a front-mounted twin Lastrum bolt cannon. It has a turret-mounted twin-linked Arachnus blaze cannon, which we'll check that one here in a second. And also, by default, has a flare shield. It is Legionis Custodes. It has Power of the Machine Spirit. It can deep strike. It can outflank. And it is, of course, as always, Loyalist. And it has a single access point at the rear of the vehicle. So the Arachnus Blaze Cannon, I think, is the first time we've come across this.
Yeah. Got it.
Uh-huh.
A las weapon, apparently.
Okay.
18-inch range, strength 8, AP 1, heavy 2, lance, exoshock 6+.
Dedicated transport. That's cool.
Fucking right.
And turret mounted. So it, if I remember right, has a 360 view. Can just no scope at ballistic skill 5. And in case you miss, you have that twin linked.
Yep.
You're also paying 180 points for it too. So
Sure. The bolt cannon is a bit more reasonable. 36-inch range, strength 6, AP 4, heavy 4, shred.
Okay.
It's their version of a heavy bolter, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And front mounted, so gotta face it.
Yeah.
All right, so then we're moving on to the fast attack.
Really, that strikes me as the Sisters Transport, but worse. Worse is a nastier, to be clear.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Although I don't think it looks as cool as the Sisters Transport, though.
Sisters Transport has a style all its own, it's true.
Super unique, and wish saw more of that.
Mm-hmm.
The Custodians have their own feel, but I will say a lot of their vehicles, for the most part, look very similar to each other. I don't know if it's more of the just the general paint scheme I've seen on most of them, but the overall general design, especially for the anti-gravs portions, make it cohesive. But I mean, I could also say the same thing for goddamn Vindicators and Predators and stuff. So it's just a taste thing.
Yeah. I definitely, before preparing for this episode, thought that they only had one vehicle, though.
Well, one transport, I think, outside of the big flying.
Yeah. Outside of the flyer.
But I think it is just the single transport, the grav carrier.
There's the tank as well, but
true.
Yeah. But we're not there yet. We are on the Agamatus Jetbike Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
3 biker lads for 265 points, 16-inch move. Rest of the stat line you've seen before, with 1 odd difference, 2 odd differences actually, 3 odd differences. Weird. To drop the suspense, only 1 attack, only leadership 9, which, oh no.
Yeah.
Only 9.
Yeah, the troops have been 9 too, so it makes sense.
Have they?
Yeah.
Okay.
The troops are 9, but yeah.
I should pay attention to this podcast I'm on, apparently.
That's good.
And only a 3-up save.
That's interesting.
Yeah. They are skirmish and anti-grav, so keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
War gear, we've got a Solarite Power Lance, Misericord, Melt Bombs, Auric Demiplate, and the Custodes Gear Falcon Jet Bike.
Gotcha.
The Custodes Demiplate I have up.
Mm-hmm.
That confers a 3-up armor save and a 6-up invuln save.
Okay. So power armor.
Yeah.
Lighter, got to get on that bike.
Right.
That single attack comes in the form of a Solarite Power Lance, which I believe mentioned before, but to reiterate, it is a Strength 10, AP 1, Armor Bane melee, 2-handed Sudden Strike 3, which I believe Sudden Strike gives you a +3, or Sudden Strike 3 is 3 to your initiative upon charging.
I believe so.
Yeah, so.
In case you ever needed to be initiative 8.
Well, yeah, with 1 attack, Strength 10 AP 1, you're gonna feel something.
Yeah. And I've got the jet bike.
Yeah.
The Gear Falcon jet bike has 1 Lastrum bolt cannon. If they run, they gain Shrouded 5-up until the start of the controlling player's next turn.
Handy. That run will take you up to 32 inches, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, and then have we seen an infantry model that can take this as an upgrade?
No, not yet. No, I think it's a dedicated model for the units.
Okay. Well, they have a paragraph prepping for the future then. Describing what happens with a model with the infantry unit type that selects one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Future-proof in.
So yeah, jet bike with nasty lance.
I do like that, though. Just having that, I guess it's not just necessarily a suicide unit, because it's not a one-use only for the for the thing. But, oh boy, do they have hit and run? Doesn't look like it. Does the bike give them hit and run?
No. So no hit and run.
Yeah, which honestly, if they had that, that would also make it super nasty. But I feel like it would make a lot of sense too with that single attack. That's kind of But they already have a slew of special rules. But
I guess they're going to be vehicle hunting. Realistically, I think they're going to be vehicle hunting.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Or the lone HQ killer.
Yeah.
All right. So we have that jet bike squadron. Then we have the Palace Attack Speeder Squadron, which it's its own little speeder vehicle, but instead of being a speeder, it is still a vehicle. It's got a 16-inch movement, ballistic skill of 5, 11, 11, 10, and 3 hull points. And it's coming in at 60 points. It has a centerline mounted twin-linked Arachnus blaze cannon and a flare shield, which is kind of neat. It can deep strike, outflank, is a loyalist. You can take up to 2 more speeders for 60 point each. And you could replace the blaze cannon with a twin-linked athletic devastator for 20 points a model. Other than speed, it's a vehicle.
Really weird that it's a vehicle.
Right? I feel like it would move alongside with the Legionis Astartes and have just basically a beefier anti-grav cavalry unit.
Something we should talk about is that twin-linked Adrathic Devastator, because that is not the same as an Adrathic Destructor.
Yeah.
The Devastator has an 18-inch range with Strength 6, AP 3, Heavy 2, Instant Death, Armor Bane ranged, and gets hot.
Whew.
So, a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
2 shots, longer range. It's the vehicle version.
Yeah. It's 20 points a model, but I feel like that would actually be a solid replacement. Because at 3 hull points with armor of 11, 11, 10, the flare shield's only going to do but so much. If you're just looking for a alpha strike unit and deep strike it in, this might be the way to go. Because you're not going to be seeing this vehicle very long on the table.
That being said, its base weapon is the Arachnus Blaze Cannon. 18-inch range, Strength 8, AP 1, Heavy 2, Lance, Exoshock 6.
Oh, God. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Sorry.
I think the difference is, are you going for... Do you want something that's more generalized? Or definitely vehicle hunting?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Actually, skip what I said. A 60-point blaze cannon platform.
Yeah.
Again, you're not going to see it very long unless you're really good at maneuvering and keeping this thing behind some sort of form of cover. Because it's...
There's a reason it's 60 points. It's the most vulnerable unit we've seen so far in this list, by far.
Definitely worth considering taking a bunch of them.
At 60 points each, yeah, you can take
180.
A lot. Oh.
That's a lot of speeders. It's your fast attack slot, but at the same time, might just to be a general just nuisance on the table.
Yeah,
I can think of worse. I know my sabers don't have that type of ridiculous output. We can get the neutron laser blaster, but it's still the blaze cannon's really darn good. Yeah, I'd skip the Devastator. Just keep the blaze cannon, but don't expect them to last very long.
No.
Anything with a strength 5 or 6 weapon is going to be targeting this thing. Hopefully on the side, because the flare shield will take care of the strength 5. But fast and light. I'm curious at that 16-inch movement though. I haven't seen a lot of vehicles that fast outside of like the Sicarans and stuff that have that type of speed. And my Sicarans don't last very long. And I think we got 4 whole points. and a little bit better armor. But we also don't cost 60 points. But anyway, I'm going around in circles now with this thing. Then we have the Custodian Venatari squad coming in at 230 points. These are infantry, skirmish, standard Custodian stat block. You get 3 of these guys. They have kinetic destroyers, Tarsus buckler, Misericord, Venatari jump harnesses, Auric demi-plate, frag grenades, and melta bombs. These are the jetpack guys that you've seen in the past. Kind of neat. Pretty unique. I haven't seen a lot of these on the tabletop.
Honestly, I didn't know there was a version that came with the spears. Lances.
Yeah, I can't remember seeing lances, which you can take for 10 points a model. They are bulky 4 chosen warriors, and they can deep strike as well, alongside the other standard special rules that custodians get. 70 points each, if you want to take more, for a total of 10.
And Jesse, if you want to look up the kinetic destroyer, I think I found the rest of them.
Yeah, sounds good. So the kinetic destroyer,
Tarsus buckler reduces the strength of shooting attacks inflicted upon it by las, plasma, melta, volkite, or adrathic weapons by 2.
Okay.
So all that energy weapons are weaker against them. Mm-hmm. Jump harness can set their movement value to 14.
Okay, so it's like the jump pack.
Otherwise, they just operate as a jetpack.
Okay, jetpack or jump pack?
Are they still different this edition?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, God damn it. I'll be honest, I've never been super clear on the difference there.
Well, outside of Mechanicum, you almost never see jetpacks.
Okay, then jump pack is what it is. It's just like your Assault Marines, except better in every way because they're Custodes.
Yeah. I've completely lost track of what I was supposed to be looking for here.
Kinetic Destroyer.
Kinetic Destroyer. Thank you. Oh, here we go. First on the page, page 140. It's a 12-inch range, strength 7, AP 4, pistol 3, rending 6 up.
Okay.
So you kind of have a slight chance with dreadnoughts against that thing.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but you could potentially go... it wouldn't be your most efficient way of taking them out, but still an option. Let's see here.
These guys are weird. Again, they're just not as tough and don't appear to be doing as much damage as other Custodes squads. I guess it's because they're trading it for the jetpack and the deep striking.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Huh. Models look cool.
Yeah. Again, when you... the Venatari Lance... I guess you could do that. I mean, I guess this is also models that can actually make use of the Misericord pretty effectively as well.
Oh, yeah, because the Kinetic Destroyer is a pistol. You're right.
Yep.
That's
so
interesting.
Jump in, use pistols, and then just give them the Emperor's Mercy.
Okay, I really like that. And the Venatari Lance is 12-inch, strength 7, AP 4, assault 3, rending 6 up. I know we mentioned it before, but I forgot it was a higher strength.
Yeah.
That changes the math a little bit there. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's assault, so you can still charge with it, which is handy. And at 10 points a model, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
You're spending more money, or you're spending more points on a lot more different things. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, these guys are neat.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Changed around.
I'm back on board.
Yeah. And
so
again,
the pistol knife situation is a cool one.
Yeah. Yeah. We've finally got a group that actually the Misericord makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
All right. Then we have the Sagittarium Guard Squad, which I built these models a couple of years ago, and they're pretty darn cool. They're effectively custodians with heavy bolters.
Speaking of which, it's worth noting that this is our first heavy support unit.
That's correct. The Sagittarium come in at 175 for 3 of them. Let's see, looking at effectively same stat blocks across the board with a weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness of 5, 2 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks base, leadership 9, and 2 up save. They have the Adrastus Bolt Caliver. They also have Misery Cord, Auric War Plate, Frag Grenades, Melt-A-Bombs. They are skirmish, not heavy. Bulky 3, they are Chosen Warriors, Relentless, Stubborn, and Loyalist. If you take 6 or less, you can take the Grav Carrier for a dedicated transport. And one of them can exchange their Adrastus Bolt Caliver for one of the following options, which is only a single option, the Vexilla and Athratic Destructor for 10 points. So the Adrastus Bolt Caliver, I'm assuming would be a bolt weapon. If I can
You would assume that. Found it. Exotic and miscellaneous.
Okay. Don't call it bolt then.
Right.
But anyway.
Okay, well, the bolt volley is 36-inch range, strength 5, AP 4, assault 4.
It's effectively an assault heavy bolter.
Yeah. That being said, flick the fire select into disintegrator mode, and you're looking at range of 24 inches, strength 5, AP 2, assault 1,
geez.
instant death, gets hot, 1 shot.
Interesting.
So I guess heavy bolter combied with a disintegrator?
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like the idea of, you know what, this bolt caliber just isn't doing it. Let me set it to disintegrate mode. Not getting enough output on this thing. Let me spice it up a bit with a chance of killing me out of one of my three models to instant death.
Yeah.
Because AP 2, because it's just going to go right through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're dead. I would stick with the heavy bolter and let someone else try to do some stupid stuff.
That being said, if you want to do more stupid stuff, one model in the unit can exchange the bolt caliber for a Magisterium Vexilla and a Drathic Destructor. For that, always on, gets hot, instant death.
Yeah, it takes 7 additional for 50 points each.
Yeah.
And then, so the one shot, is that one shot? Is that just a one and done?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. I didn't know if it's the same as like a Magna combi weapon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Getting close to the finish here. We have the Caldus Grav. Go ahead.
Actually, speaking of combi weapons, important point is that the Adrastus bolt caliber, despite having the profile of a combi weapon, calls out that you can only use one of those profiles to attack in a given shooting phase.
Good point. So not necessarily, it's not a combi weapon. It just feels like one.
It's not a combi weapon. It just feels like it.
Gotcha. You still got to flip the switch.
Yep.
All right. So now coming to the Caldus Grav tank, which again looks very similar in shape to the Cronus Grav carrier, except this one has a big turret on top and it's a little bit smaller. It's not the school bus size as the transport. It is a 225 points with front, side, and rear armor of 13, 13, 11, 4 hull points, movement of 16, and ballistic skill of 5. It's an anti-grav vehicle. Has the Elastus accelerator cannon on top. Front-mounted twin Lastrum bolt cannon and a flare shield. Also has powered machine spirit, deep strike, and outflanks. And you can change out the Elastus accelerator for a blaze cannon for 35 points.
The Elastus accelerator cannon is 48-inch range, strength 8, AP 3, heavy 3, rending 6 up, brutal 2, and twin linked.
Whew. That's a good weapon.
that is a good weapon.
But
I feel like the vehicles aren't punching up quite as much as Custodes, the infantry are. But they are still definitely better. I don't think they're as much better, though.
And should notice, I think at 48 inches, I think this is one of the longer ranged weapons that the Custodians have.
Yes.
So, And with the flare shield and a front armor 13 is kind of just worth keeping in back, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a pseudo artillery vehicle.
And if anything gets close, you have a movement to 16.
Yeah.
Just zip away.
Mm-hmm. And also having the power of the machine spirit is kind of handy as well, too. So if you have something in front of you, you can also shoot at something to the side.
Yeah.
Pretty handy.
All
right. Now we have the other Contemptor, who's a heavy support instead of elite this time.
Our favorite.
And I'll pull up the armory here.
The Contemptor Galladus Dreadnought. 235 points. Movement 8. Weapon skill 6. Ballistic skill 5. Strength 8. Toughness 7. 6 wounds. Initiative 4. 4 attacks. Leadership 10. Strength 2. Or Save 2. Sorry. Saw the S and got excited. Unit type is Dreadnought, of course. You only get one for that price point. It has the Legio Custodes and Loyalist rules. And then for war gear, it has the Galatas Warblade with inbuilt twin-linked Infernus Incinerator, a Gravis Presidium Shield, and the Automatic Deflector.
Okay. So the Galatas Warblade is Strength 8, AP 2, Melee, and Instant Death. So pretty basic, but pretty darn powerful. The Gravis Presidium Shield
is a shield that confers a 4-up invuln save. Does not stack with the existing invulns, of course. In addition, cannot claim bonus for attacking with more than one melee weapon, or make attacks with two-handed weapon. So, 4-up invuln.
Yep. Just a big old shield.
Yeah.
Now, what was that inbuilt weapon you mentioned on the Warblade?
That was the twin-linked Infernus Incinerator.
Infernus Incinerator.
That should be under flame. I will say, one problem Custodes players are going to run into is that it can be hard to tell where in the war gear section your weapon profiles are.
It's a little bit of bouncing around.
Yeah.
So the Infernus Incinerator is a Strength 6, AP 4, Heavy 1 template weapon.
Okay.
And is a flame weapon.
Sure.
So, not much to write home about, but is a Strength 6 flamer. No Tauren or anything on this one.
The Contemptor Galladus overall seems very straightforward. Which you can tell by the amount of white space on its page. Yeah. That being said, it's just got the stats to be good, I think.
For sure.
You put it on the board, you run it towards the enemy, you chop some things, those things will die.
Yep.
And your opponent's going to have a lot of trouble getting rid of your Dreadnought.
Yeah, especially with a 4-up invuln.
Uh-huh.
This is like the old Leviathans of 1st edition, with the 4-up invuln just running around and just going ham. At least this one doesn't have the same shooting output as the old Leviathan. So, not bad. And 235 points. It's a little bit cheaper than the other one, if I remember right. The other Contemptor is 250 for the Custodians. So,
if you want a shooting Dreadnought and you're a Custodian, though, the Telemon Heavy Dreadnought is up next.
Oh, the Telemon.
You want to take it away, Jesse?
Sure. Rocking at 365 points. This is, I believe, the first heavy Dreadnought that I've seen, unless Leviathan's heavy too. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
You know, scratch that. It's a heavy Dreadnought. We have a 6-inch movement, weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength 8, toughness 8, 8 wounds, so don't be bringing this into Zone Mortalis. Initiative 4, 5 attacks. Leadership 10 has a 2-up save. It is just a single Dreadnought. It comes with 2 Telemon Cestus with inbuilt Proteus plasma projectors. 1 Spiculous bolt launcher, an Adamantic deflector, and Area Shrike. So you're not going to get the drop on this guy much. He is Custodian. He has Hammer of Wrath 3. He moves through cover and is Loyalist. He may exchange either of his Cestus with inbuilt Proteus plasma projectors for one of the following. Each an Arachnus Storm Cannon for 35 points or an Elastus Accelerator Culivern for 25.
All right. The Telemon Cestus is a melee weapon. Strength 10, AP 2, melee specialist weapon, Sunder.
And specialist weapon, so he gets, if he has 2, I guess he gets the extra attack. So
6 attacks.
Yep, 6 attacks on the charge. For strength 10, AP 2.
Yeah.
Yoicks.
And that was the Proteus Plasma Projector. Is a template weapon. Strength 7, AP 4, Assault 1, Breaching 4 up, gets hot.
I don't like others having plasma flamers. That's a Dark Angel thing, damn it.
His are strength 7.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you have to die to get it, I guess it's fine.
Yeah. Spicular bolt launcher. Do we think that's a bolt weapon?
At this point, I don't know what to think.
It is.
Okay.
Yes, it is a bolt launcher specifically. Which interestingly, bolt launchers count as both bolt and missile weapons.
Interesting.
So I guess keep that in mind. But the Spiculous bolt launcher has a range of 36 inches, strength 6, AP 4, heavy 8, pinning.
8 shots. AP 4, but 8 shots.
Strength 6.
That is pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That's not bad at all.
Yep. Okay. And then
the Elastus Accelerator Culvern, not to be confused with the cannon, is 24 inches, strength 8, AP 3, heavy 4, rending 6 up, and brutal 2.
Okay.
And the Arachnus Storm Cannon. Aha. The Arachnus Storm Cannon is range 12, strength 8, AP 1, heavy 3, lance, exoshock 6.
All right. Fun times. Yeah, 365 points. It's expensive.
Yeah. It's going to feel real good shooting these guns, though.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's only got a 5-up invuln, but it has 8 wounds and a 2-up save. I think you're going to be pretty...
and it's toughness 8.
Yeah, you're going to be comfortable with this thing. It's going to give Leviathans a run for its money.
Yeah. It's probably not as much of an upgrade over Leviathan as, Custodes are over Tacticals.
Yeah.
But it's a big, pretty model, and it's going to feel cool shooting the guns.
Yeah, I will say it is one of my favorite Custodian models.
Yeah. It almost looks like Adeptus Titanicus.
It does.
Yeah.
Like a Custodian Titan.
All right.
Effectively is. All right. So then the last 2 units we have are some of its flyers, Lords of War, to be specific. We have the Orion Assault Dropship at 600 points. So don't think you're going to be bringing this into any game under 2,400 points. It's got a 19-inch movement, ballistic skill 5, a 13, 12, 11 armor, 7 hull points, transport capacity of 24. It is a flyer, hover, lumbering, transport vehicle. It has 2 Centiline-mounted Arachnus heavy blaze cannons, in case one wasn't enough, 2 hull-mounted twin Lastrum bolt cannons, 2 hull-mounted Spiculous heavy bolt launchers. Mounted to the front. It has an Eclipse shield, which, do you have that handy?
I do have that handy.
Cool.
A vehicle with an Eclipse shield reduces the strength of shooting attacks made against its front armor by -1, or -2 if that attack has the Blast special rule, or uses a template to determine its range. An Eclipse shield has no effect on attacks inflicted with weapons of the Destroyer type. If a shooting attack targeting the front armor of a model with the vehicle type with an Eclipse shield inflicts a glancing hit or penetrating hit, then that model with the vehicle type immediately gains the Shrouded 5 special rule against all subsequent shooting attacks targeting it in the front armor during the same phase.
Interesting. Okay. It's kind of a cool name for War Gear, too. It has Power of the Machine Spirit, is an assault vehicle, can deep strike, has Transport Bay, and which I guess Transport Bay allows it to take more than a single unit, if I remember right. And has a single access point at the rear of the vehicle. Then finally we have the Ares gunship. You want to take that one?
Sure.
Looks just if I remember right, it looks just like the Orion, except it has a big old gun on the front.
Yep. A big old gun, according to that picture.
Yeah.
650 points, 19-inch move, ballistic skill 5, front armor 13, side armor 12, rear armor 10, 7 hull points. It is a vehicle with the flyer, hover, and lumbering subtypes. Special rules, we got Power of the Machine Spirit, Deep Strike, Loyalist. For weapons, we have 2 centerline mounted Achaeus heavy blaze cannons, a center mounted Arachnus Magna blaze cannon.
I think that's a big gun.
Hull front mounted Infernus firebomb clusters, an Eclipse shield, and an aerostrike.
Okay. So the Arachnus Magna blaze cannon is 48 inches, strength 10, AP 1, Destroyer 2, Lance, and Exoshock 4 up. And the Infernus firebomb clusters is a bomb type with strength 6, AP 4, heavy 1, massive blast, and ignores cover. So firebomb's not as scary. That being said, it's a massive blast. It's AP 4, thankfully. They've kept a lot of the blast weapons from just eating up power armor this edition. And it ignores cover.
When it drops the bomb, it's going to blow up a quarter of the battlefield. But you have a chance of surviving it, at least.
Drop it on Solar Exilla for just chuckles.
Yes.
It's like, that's a nice...
Just to piss them off.
Yep. Oh, boy. That's a nice group of 50 guys you got there. Oh,
be a shame if something happened to them.
Yep. Take 40 of them away.
All right.
What tertio?
And that is the Adeptus Custodes.
Super. Yeah. Mega beat stick.
They're the Custodes.
Yeah, I'm going to start building up some lists with these guys. I'm kind of curious to see what kind of ridiculous output you can get with a 2,000, 2,500. Kind of curious how many actual models you get on the table. Because while they are definitely strong, with a 5-up invuln save, you're fighting Terminators for the most part.
Yeah, they're fast for Terminators, I will say.
They're fast Terminators. They can sweep, so you're fine. But at 5-up, it's like beefier Tartarus Terminators with better weapons for the most part.
By a lot.
But the overall model count, though, because you're only getting 3 in a squadron for the most part. So there's that balancing act.
If you want to play Custodes without being a dick, I think what you want to do is you want to bring vehicles and dreadnoughts. Vehicles in particular, if you can.
That being said, they're pricey enough to where I don't think you can bring a lot of just a whole lot of models, because you bring 10 custodians for roughly 500 points, which is a lot.
Let's see, 3 custodians at 150. Let's do that math.
I mean, if you bring 3 for 150, yeah.
Heck, they do get the discount for bringing additionals in the unit.
Yeah. It's a slight discount. You're saving like 5 points a model after your first 3.
So, squad of 10 custodian guards is going to be 465.
Yep.
for 10 of them.
Yep. So that's 20 wounds there with a 2-up armor save and
So
toughness 5.
bring 50 of them. Plus Tribune at 300 points. And Shield Captain at 200 points. Assuming you don't want to upgrades on anything. 52 models, 3,000 points. But it's a lot of Custodians.
That is. I feel like they're not quite priced enough to be a decent allied detachment unless you want to go heavy in a very heavy allied detachment.
Something else I could see, though, is say you're running, Burning of Prospero Space Wolves. I could see taking like a Shield Captain and a squad of Custodes. And I feel like they do okay. They're not going to change how your army works particularly. Right. But it gives you that golden flavor. Yep.
And also point out, if you do take them alongside like Astartes, this, unlike the first edition, you can't mix and match with the sisters. They're their own separate detachment. So unless you do specifically Custodians and sisters, you won't be able to see both of them on the table in your army.
Yeah.
Unless there's some other weird army detachments in the future that'll show up. But that being said, very strong army. Outside of the numbers, which you can still get a lot, there's not much outside of just mass amount of it all boils down to, at the end of the day, how much output can you take on these guys?
The answer is a fair amount, but a lot of that output is melee.
And even if you're especially with that Nemesis special rule too, some of your top models that are usually really darn good at beefy are going to have a time.
Yeah.
Maybe Emperor's Children with a edge on initiative might be able to do something. I'd have to.
They'll at least get the swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a rough one. Terminators, hope you survive your instant death hits, and we'll see. They're also toughness 5, so anything less than a strength 10 is not going to instant kill these guys.
Right.
This is a tough army.
It's a tough army.
I feel like overall the prices are pricey for the most part. I'd have to play a few more. I have to play these guys to really get a feel for how well balanced that is. But I think
as a disclaimer, neither of us have played or played against the Custodes.
Yeah, not in second edition anyway.
Yeah, not in second edition. But they look rough. They're very expensive, but I'm not sure that they're expensive enough. And if you're making a Custodes army, I feel like Custodes might make a good second army. Just because even if you can be beaten with a Custodes army, I don't know that it would feel great for your opponent.
Yeah, I feel like
everything they have is going to struggle.
I feel like it's definitely a very good narrative army. If you want to put together something out of the books, this is a really cool book. And if you're doing like a narrative campaign or a narrative, not a campaign because that might get old quick. I know you and I are on a campaign, so if two of us just playing a campaign with one of us Custodes, that'd probably get old for the other person real quick.
Yeah.
But like if you're having like a big narrative battle or something, or like a mega battle, and someone has a contingent of Custodians, that would feel pretty cool.
Or the climax of a campaign, maybe. Bump the points up to, you have your 3,000 point armies plus 1,000 points of, loyalists have 1,000 points of Custodes allies, and hopefully in the not too distant future, traders can have 1,000 points of demon allies.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
but overall, neat army. I think a
lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, and overall, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of most of their vehicles. I think the models themselves, especially the infantry models, are just downright gorgeous.
Yeah,
there are some of the original plastic Heresy models. So I think they hold up pretty well. But that's about all I have for tonight. And until next time, thanks, Michael, for hanging out with me tonight.
Anytime.
Well, stay safe and keep those dice rolling, and bye for now.
Have a good night.